Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema is heading to Zimbabwe's capital, Harare, for the very first time since taking office. Now that might sound a bit surprising because Zimbabwe is Zambia's closest neighbor, literally joined by the hip through the mighty Zambezi River and the Victoria Falls, aka Moshetunya. But this visit on November 14, 2025 marks more than a diplomatic courtesy call. It's a recent moment after years of tension between two countries often called the Zambezi sisters. So what's behind this historical visit? Why did relations get cold? And why do Zambians and Zimbabweans matter so much to each other and to the region at large? I'm Zenge, and this is the Africa for Dummies podcast. Let me explain.
I am an African.
Back in April 2023, Hichilema, as he's popularly known, was in Zimbabwe for the Transform Africa Summit. But that wasn't an official state visit. In fact, the upcoming trip is his first official one since becoming president in 2021. And the delay wasn't by accident. Relations between Harare and Lusaka have been pretty frosty, especially after Zambia chaired the SADC organ on politics, defense, and security cooperation in 2023. That's the body that oversees election observation missions and peace efforts across the Southern African region. As its chair, Hichilema had the authority to appoint the head of SADC's observation mission to Zimbabwe's 2023 election, and he chose Nevas Mumba, a Zambian clergyman and diplomat, as well as the former vice president of Zambia. Mumba's report was unusually frank. It said that Zimbabwe's elections fell short of regional and international standards. That didn't sit well with President Emmerson Mnangagwa's government, which accused Zambia and HH personally of bias. From there, things spiraled. Zimbabwean state media ran negative segments about Hichilema. In Lusaka, critics of HH accused him of damaging a long-standing friendship, and adding fuel to the fire, several Zambian political figures from the former ruling Patriotic Front, facing corruption or legal charges, fled to Zimbabwe. Among them, the former member of parliament for Petauke, J.J. Banda, and ex-presidential advisor, Kezia Zulu. When Harare refused to extradite them, Lusaka saw it as a political provocation. But to understand why all this matters, let's rewind. Zambia and Zimbabwe's relationship is as old as the countries themselves. Before independence, they were part of a colonial federation under the British Empire, the Federation of Rhodesia and Nyasaland, linking the northern Rhodesias, today Zambia, southern Rhodesia, today Zimbabwe, and the Nyasaland, today's Malawi. When that federation collapsed in 1963, Zambia gained independence first in 1964, while Zimbabwe's liberation struggle dragged on for another decade and a half. And during that struggle, Zambia played a critical role, hosting Zimbabwean liberation fighters, political exiles, and supporting movements like ZANU and ZAPU. Zambia's founding president, Kenneth Kaunda, was one of Africa's frontline leaders who helped negotiate Zimbabwe's independence in 1980. Fast forward to 2008, when Zimbabwe's disputed elections turned violent. Zambia, under President Levi Patrick Monawasa, became one of the first African governments to publicly condemn what it called Zimbabwe's embarrassing leadership failure. It was a rare moment of open rebuke in Southern African diplomacy, and it showed just how much Zambian leaders were willing to speak out for democratic norms in Zimbabwe. In 2017, history repeated itself. After Robert Mugabe was ousted through military pressure, Kenneth Kaunda, then in his 90s, was quietly sneaked in to again call for help to negotiate a peaceful transition. Under Zambia's Patriotic Front government, from 2011 to 2021, relations warmed dramatically. Presidents Sata, Lungu, and Mnangagwa shared close political and economic ties. Joint projects like the Kariba hydro upgrades symbolized growing cooperation. But when Hichilema's United Party for National Development, UPND, came to power after over 2 decades in opposition, those dynamics changed. His administration prioritized transparency, democracy, and the rule of law, at least performatively. Values that sometimes clash with Zimbabwe's more securitized political culture. So now with this visit, both countries are trying to move forward and turn a new page. Hichilema's trip is for the inaugural Zambia-Zimbabwe Bi-National Commission, a new framework that is supposed to upgrade their old Joint Permanent Commission into a higher-level coordination body. It's designed to make cooperation more strategic, covering trade, energy, transport, security, and cross-border development. This is basically to turn proximity into productivity, because here's the thing. These two countries deeply intertwined. They share the Kariba Dam, one of Africa's largest sources of hydroelectric power, Victoria Falls, a major tourist magnet and World Heritage Site, transport corridors linking Zambia to the copper belt in Zimbabwe's roads and railways, and a combined population of 35 million people bound by language, family, and history. When relations sour, electricity, trade, and even tourism feel the shockwaves. So, will this visit thaw relations? Maybe. Diplomatically, it's a big step because both governments are framing it as a chance to reaffirm a shared history and mutual respect. But beneath the smiles and the handshakes, political mistrust might linger. Still, the fact that the presidents are finally sitting across the same table, face to face, not just at a SADC summit or an AU summit, but bilaterally, is progress in itself. Because when the Zambezi sisters cooperate, the entire Southern African region stands to benefit from this relationship. If you'd like to know more about Zambia's role in Zimbabwe's 2023 election, check out the link on the screen where we had a talk with the former Vice President of Zambia, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, who observed the election. If you want to go through a deeper rabbit hole on Zimbabwean and Rhodesian history, check out the link in the description and figure out what you can on the history of Zimbabwe and Rhodesia. That's it for this week's Africa for Dummies. And if you found this explainer useful, don't forget to share it, like it, and follow us on all of our platforms, including YouTube, where you can just hit the subscribe button right below and leave a like. And if you have a comment, let us know what you think about this. Until next time, I'm Zenge. Stay curious and stay critical.